everybody, welcome back to Sunflower Cottage Crochet. I am Sarah, and today's yarn review is for Furls, Whims Merino, and I'm also going to include a Tunisian hook review, as I bought these together with my own cash, and in our Facebook group, I asked if they wanted a review of both the yarn and the hooks, or just the yarn, and they said both. So that's what we're going to do today. As usual, I also have yarn sub pulled up to tell you what compares to this yarn in case you can't get Furls or don't want to pay the Furls price. I totally understand. They do run a lot of sales, and sometimes their sales are super awesome and sometimes it's still not quite enough. So I like to do the yarn sub thing so you know what else you could get that is just like this. Okay, so to start out, I have mustard and purple, obviously. The mustard is very mustard. It's the perfect, like, just yellow mustard on your hot dog mustard. The purple is more of a plum purple, in my opinion, but it's just called purple. This is a Z-twist. They call it a crocheter's yarn because Z-twist, if you didn't know, if you're a beginner or if you just really don't pay attention to this, a Z-twist yarn is actually the best you can get to work with for crochet purposes because it doesn't split on you. It creates good stitch definition. It just is all around the best twist you can get out of a yarn for crochet. So with that said, the yellow, the mustard, is a worsted weight, and their merino is 50% fine superwash merino wool and 50% nylon. This feels super, super amazing. My goodness. It's somewhat silky, even though it's wool. I cannot feel the wool, no matter how much I try to friction that. I just can't feel it. I imagine the nylon pairing with that does a lot, but you can kind of see, I don't know, it may be too hard for you to see the wool fibers, but I can see them. Okay, so there's 103 yards, and it does recommend a 5.5 to 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. So it does ask that you use a slightly larger hook than you would normally use for a 5 weight. Now, I did a swatch that I need to grab for you up with the Furls Odyssey in peach, and this was done with a 5 millimeter. So just to show you what the stitch definition is like, I did foundation double crochet row. I didn't chain, I just did a foundation row, another row of doubles, half doubles, and then this is created by doing third loop half double or camel stitch. So I made a camel stitch because I like that stitch and I wanted to see it. And then I did some people call it moss stitch, some people call it waistcoat, some people just call it woven, but it's a single crochet, chain one, skip one, single crochet in the next stitch, because I kind of wanted to see a sort of semi-knit look as well. But you can definitely see the stitch definition. This is the wrong side of my fabric here. So I'm really pleased. It feels amazing. It worked up wonderful. And now I will frog some of this to show you that there were no hang-ups, because I have frogged this a few times to show to work up some Tunisian stitches as well. So you can see it frogs up really nice. So there was no catching, no hang-ups or anything like that. And now I am hung up a little though here, so hang on. Okay. So for the 4 weight, your substitute from yarnsub.com, the first one on the list is called Knit Picks Big O. It has the same weight. They're calling it bulky chunky. It's not really. The fiber content matches exactly, so it's 50-50 merino wool and nylon. It says that this yarn has a regular smooth texture, but it's also plied, 3 or more plies, rather than Z-plied. It's still a good match, but the ply structure of the yarn has an effect on the finished fabric and what it's been used for. So The Big O is less dense than this. By the way, when they say they call it a bulky or chunky, which is a 5, they're dead wrong. This is absolutely a 4, like right on the money 4-weight yarn. So I don't know why Big O would be a good one, but okay. Sheep Yee's Ambience. It is also, they're calling it a bulky. I think they're basing it off of the hook sizing that Furls recommends for this. But again, I used a 5 mil to do my little tiny swatch. So I think, and it seems pretty lacy, so I don't think using the larger hook is recommended. And I think that throws off the suggested yarns. But feel-wise, I would agree on the Sheep Yee's for sure. I've had some of their yarn, used it, and I love, it feels very similar to this. Sheep Yee's is maybe a little more velvety. DK. All right, so now when I go to this purple, which is a 4-weight, or 3-weight, excuse me, lightweight yarn, this ball is the same Z-twist and the same fiber content, and it does recommend a 4 to a 5.5 mil. So again, I would usually use a 4 millimeter for a 3-weight yarn, but not anything much bigger than that. I did, however, grab my 4.5 from Furls. This is their streamline swirl, like cafe or something like that. Anyway, and I did a very similar swatch to the other one. So I have my 1 row of double crochet, it's a foundation row, and then I did a half double, a camel, and then I did some more of that moss. So because it's so dark and purpley, it's kind of hard to see the stitches, but I can see the stitch definition is really good. So again, to pull this one out, it doesn't hang up. There goes the hook. So it feels amazing. It feels the same. It's just thinner. So for this one, I'm trying to keep this hook from going everywhere. All right, for this one, it suggests Paintbox Yarns Wool Mix Aran, which would actually be much closer to the 4-weight of this one. So get the Paintbox Wool Mix Aran if you want the feel of this one, but it's still not a Z-twist. What I'm starting to see is for this Whims, sorry guys, you aren't going to find anything close enough to it. This is absolutely a 3-weight through and through, and this is absolutely a 4-weight through and through. So the websites don't really know. I think because based on the hook size that they recommend for these and the Z-twist, it throws everything off, which makes them quite unique. And so I did get these on sale. Even still, they were like $10 a skein, and the 3-weight has 182 yards, so they're not ginormous skeins, but you have to remember the fiber content. 50% fine superwash merino wool, and this is absolutely scarfable, shawlable, wearable. It doesn't feel like wool. I mean, it doesn't feel plasticky for sure, but it doesn't because it's not scratchy remotely. It's super soft and super silky. All right, so that's enough on the yarn. Here's the hooks. Now, they make their hooks on a lathe, and they do also spin their own yarns and things. So Furls is a bit of a handmade. They do have some machinery, but again, it's mostly handmade. So this one is Ash and Ebony, and this is called their Cruella de Vil. Teak and Ebony is this one right here. And it is very, very sizing is a 6 millimeter. That's what yep, 6 mil. And again, it is a Teak and Ebony. And these things are a little expensive at $25 a hook. But again, they pretty much always have a coupon code for 20% off, and they also run big sales. And sometimes you can pair them up. They have one that's called the King Snake, but I am not a big fan of the King Snake. It's very stripey in not the same way that this this one is. It's not diagonals, it's just regular stripes. This is Cruella de Vil, and this is my 6.5 mil. And I've been using this one to work up the Tunisian series that I'm working on for you guys. So this one is probably my most favorite. It is Ebony and Ash. And this one is called Classic. It's maple and ebony. So, and then again, this one was the teak and ebony. And then this one, I'm not finding it right off. Looks like, oh, this one is like Paducah and ebony, and this one is teak and ebony. So there's the ebony there, and then the teak here. So this one is a 5 mil, 6, 5.5, and 6.5. These are kind of like the normal size hooks that you're going to use for Tunisian anyway, so that's why I just kind of got those 4 at $25 a hook. So yeah, there's $100 right there, but I did have coupons and they were having a sale. So I think I got $30 total off. So that was quite helpful. And then you do, of course, have to pay shipping. So it's going to be like you splurged on yourself to get these things. Otherwise, for Tunisian hooks, just get those really cool ones that have like the little wire that connects to the ends. So the hook itself is only like this long, but then the wires that you can connect can be short, long, whatever. And they come in a pack of like 6 different hook sizes. And I can try to find them on Amazon for you. But if you really want to spoil yourself with some fancy hooks and hooks that create really pretty stitches, because it does matter, you would need to get the Furls. So I'll put the links to those down below. And that's going to wrap it up for the yarn and hook review from Furls. Remember, we had Whims Merino in both worsted weight and lightweight, or DK. Erin and DK worsted light 4-3. Okay, and then our hooks. So I hope this was helpful and interesting, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.